Hi, welcome back. This is part 3 of my Solo Combat Mastery series, a series where I take on the Combat Mastery system in RS3 and see just how far can a solo player go. So these are the bosses that I've already completed, the ones in green. The bosses in gray are group bosses and the ones in white are still waiting to be challenged. Before we jump into today's video, I want to quickly talk about the direction of the series. So at the beginning I said I would stick with one boss until I completed every single achievement before moving on to the next one. And that hasn't completely changed. My plan is still to fully complete each boss, but from now on, I'll move on after finishing all of its master achievements. The jump from master to grandmaster is enormous, and it's not just a matter of practice, it also demands a much stronger account, and right now I'm missing several major upgrades like tier 95 prayers, some best in slot weapons, and eventually upgrading those weapons to tier 100 as well. At this moment, I do not think my account is ready for that level of content, so if that's not the direction you were hoping for, I completely understand. But this isn't the end of the Grandmaster grind. My plan is to come back to those achievements later and make them the focus of their own series eventually. One thing I've learned is that knowing your limits isn't the same as giving up. It's about recognizing where you are, improving the areas that are holding you back, and also avoiding burnout. So first, I'm going to build a stronger account, become a better PVMer, and then come back ready to take on the Grandmaster achievements. But that's enough talking, let's get into today's video. So you're probably wondering, why is this guy fighting Araxxor in full bronze? Well, one of the elite achievements require you to kill Araxxor while wearing bronze armor in your helmet, chest, legs, and main hand weapon slots. You are still allowed to use any offhand weapon, so I brought a tier 95 length of hand to help with the damage. Thanks to the combat modernization update, you can no longer completely miss your attacks. You just deal less damage when your hit chance is not 100%. Also, taking the easier route via the darkness path with minions path blocked and doing it on 0% in range makes it easier. You know, it always bothered me that the game calls this boss Araxxi and not Araxxor. So Araxxor is the one on the front line, he's doing all the hard work alongside the spiderlings. Then Araxxi just drops in at the end, kills Araxxor and takes all the credit. It makes me sick. But anyway, killing Araxxor in full bronze, achievement completed. Some of the other achievements were pretty straightforward. One requires you to avoid standing in the light for the entire tunnel phase. I could be wrong, but I think the darkness used to deal more damage to the player. Also, the wall goes down much faster now, it only takes one successful quick time event to break through. Another achievement requires you to correctly pray against every basic attack during the final phase. This one's a bit tricky, but there's a simple tip I can give you. So do not stand too close to Araxxi, and also don't hog the wall either. So standing roughly halfway between the boss and the wall works best, since the ranged attack and the melee attack have a different travel speed. So if you're standing too close to the wall, both attacks can hit you on the same tick, and it's gonna make you fail the challenge. There are some achievements for the acid path as well. For the first one, you need to finish phase 2 while at least 40% of the acid remains in the pool. Just let Araxxor soak up around 60% of the acid before running up the hill, then finish the kill as normally and to get the achievement. Then do the exact opposite, so let Araxxor absorb all of the acid to 100% and finish the kill to get the achievement. Now, the speed kills for this boss are 3 minutes for the elite tier and 1 minute and 42 seconds for the master tier. Currently, there are no Grandmaster achievements for Araxxor. What players usually do is try to skip almost the entire second phase by surging through the tunnel, triggering phase 3, then immediately running back to one-shot Araxxor before the spiderlings have a chance to spawn. I actually never tried this before, and honestly, it is ridiculously overpowered, but also very hard to do. Skipping the spiderling phase makes the fight feel so much smoother, and using this strategy, I managed to get a personal best with a 1 minute and 26 second improvement. Now all I needed was the master timer. The frustrating part about this challenge is that the first minute of every attempt is basically spent waiting for the web to burn down. Any damage to deal during phase 1 is completely irrelevant. Once the web burns down, you have about 10 seconds to search through the tunnel, make it back, and try to one-shot Araxxor. This is so you have enough time in the last phase to get the master timer. Basically, 1 minute is wasted waiting for the web to burn down, and then you spend like 20 seconds watching the cutscene and waiting Araxxor to become targetable. So in reality, you have like 20 to 30 seconds of input to actually get this challenge. Your success also depends on things like Araxxor's special attack timing when the web burns down, how good you are at using search and dive, and other things like crit, and if you get a full book proc. It is honestly very fun and infuriating at the same time, but you can say the same thing for almost everything in this game. So I was reaching the phase 4 consistently, but I was already out of Berserk once Araxxor became targetable, and my melee damage was enough to finish Araxxor quickly. So I switched to a hybrid setup. Using a combat dummy, I precast that swiftness and Eldritch Crossbow special, and then a rapid fire and a deadshot was usually enough to finish the kill. So this strategy was good, but I was considering farming an extra kill to get this done. So I already had 2 of the 3 pieces in my bank, so I squeezed in a few suck runs between the Araxxor attempts, but no luck. Now I'm up to 50 hard mode suck kills, which is a nice little milestone. I added some other stuff to my strategy, like the Dragon Battle Axe special, building 10 length stacks before the kill, and also using a Calgarian Demon. Is the Calgarian Demon better than the Reaper Demon when your entire goal is deleting a low health boss as fast as possible? What do you think? So I got stuck for a while. My best times were always around 1 minute and 43 seconds, sometimes even 1 minute and 42 seconds flat. Always just 1 or 2 ticks away. I knew the problem was not my damage, it was my movement. So I wasn't getting through the tunnel and back cleanly enough. Every tick mattered. Eventually, everything came together on this kill. So I built 10 length stacks before entering the fight. Also try to burn down the web on the very first tick. Around 20 seconds into the fight, use the Dragon Battle Axe special. Then I rebuild my adrenaline while dealing with Araxxor mechanics using anticipation and freedom. This is also a great time to use the Calgarian Demon Scroll. At around 50 seconds, use Meteor Strike, then position yourself facing the tunnel. Activate Berserker and drink a burst of acceleration at around 58 seconds, just before the web burns down. The moment the path is open, search and dive through the tunnel and go back as fast as possible. Once you are on Araxxor, Chaos Roar, overpower, and use the Length Sword special attack, and this should complete the phase. For phase 4, I swapped to ranged, immediately use that swiftness and drink a adrenaline potion. Put down the combat dummy, activate Immune Shadows, create a ricochet on the dummy to gain back some adrenaline, and activate the Eldritch special attack on the Essence of Finality. Finally Gale Shot on the dummy and wait for Araxxor to become targetable. A rapid fire into Deadshot should get you the kill, or maybe you need like one more ability, you can use a Snapshot. And that was enough to get me the master timer for Araxxor. Since I already completed the collection log for this boss and now I have every combat achievement, I think I'm done with this boss, at least for the foreseeable future. So Araxxor combat achievements were completed. Quick intermission. While grinding these achievements, I did some care pack in between to hopefully get lucky with a drop. And I managed to achieve 1000 hard mode kills, which unlocked the alternate color for the carry pet. This pet just looks amazing, and it's going to be my pet skin from now on. The next challenge we're taking on is the Elite Dungeon number 2, or the Dragon King Laboratory. I picked this dungeon for one reason. I wanted to put my new Dracolish armor with Dragon Slayer perk, along with my Masterwork bow and Dragonbane arrows to the test. I know there are 3 bosses in this dungeon, but I am counting the entire dungeon as a single boss. After all, you can't challenge the Blackstone Dragon without defeating the other 2 first. The first encounter is Ashlarn. So this is really a fun fight, but also a very chaotic one. If you handle the mechanics correctly, you can usually finish it in under a minute. But if you don't, you're either resetting the kill or paying death for your gear. Conveniently, 1 minute is also the elite speed timer, and I managed to get it on my very first kill. The other achievements were not so easy though. To get a kill without triggering the wormhole, the best strategy I found was to make it spawn on any corner in the arena, then run around luring the neutron star away from the wormhole. Tanking the neutron star also works, but do not do it if you are a hardcore Ironman. During this challenge, to deal damage to the boss, Poison and Split Soul do not get affected by the damage reduction caused by not activating the wormhole, so they are essential to complete this one. This one was one of the hardest challenges in the whole dungeon. Finally, getting a kill with 2 pulsars active. The pulsar is the mini sun that spawns and deals AoE damage around itself. To get this challenge, you can move to the other side of the arena after the first pulsar spawns to take less damage from its attacks. Then you get the boss to low HP and wait for the second pulsar to spawn, and you deal the finishing blow to get the achievement. This boss is pretty scary, but I do love fights like this one. Next up we have Araxxor, KBD's long lost twin brother, who is miles stronger. Even if this fight is longer than Ashlarn, for some reason it feels so much easier to deal with. The only mechanic that I think is not very intuitive is the egg special attack. So the game tells you, hey, you have absorbed this shock attack, find a way to disperse it. And obviously the answer is to disperse the energy using it in any egg except the shock one. Doesn't make that much sense to me. Other than that, the fight is super straightforward, just like its combat achievements. On my first kill, I completed almost every achievement, like dodging the dragon bomb, avoiding the flame vortex, and although in my case, the boss didn't even survive long enough to be able to use it. I also got both the 4-minute speed kill and the 3-minute speed kill, which is the elite one. One more kill was enough to finish the remaining achievements, correctly praying against every spire attack and also defeating the boss without dealing with the egg mechanic. Nothing bad really happens if you ignore this mechanic, you're just gonna be taking some damage. Honestly, I expected the middle boss of the dungeon to put up more of a fight, but it is what it is. Finally, we reach the Blackstone Dragon. In my opinion, it's one of the coolest looking bosses in the entire game. But ironically, it doesn't really feel like you're fighting a dragon. It feels more like fighting some kind of cosmic horror that just happens to look like a dragon. The only time it actually behaves like a dragon is during its words mechanic. It's the flight phase. It's 1 full minute of just standing around, running around, waiting for it to come down, or getting one-shotted by an invisible fireworm if you're not paying attention. But I guess it's a lore thing where the dragons are being used by experiments of other world beings. Poor dragons, man, they can't catch a break. But anyways, what we are here for is the combat achievements. You get most of them done by just doing a normal kill without getting hit by the special attacks, like the Shadow Flames, the Grasping Hands, or the Gemstone Charge attack. The one that stands out the most is the 4 in hand challenge. For this one, you need to defeat all the black hands within 10 seconds of each other. You can easily get it by getting all the hands to low HP, then finishing them off with bleeds, using Surge and Dive to quickly move around to defeat them in time. For the speed kills, the elite one is 4 minutes and the master is 2 minutes and 15 seconds. There is a Grandmaster tier for this boss, but I'm gonna be skipping this one for now. To get the master timer, you basically need to skip the flight special. Well, not really skip it, it's more like prevent it. How do you do this? Right, by defeating it before he flies away. So I am noticing a pattern in the master tier achievements. So far, DPS in your way past mechanics has been the answer. For this one, I chose my trusty ranged plus melee setup. Starting the fight with range, I deal my usual rotation of Death Swiftness to activate Split Soul, Rapid Fire and Deadshot to get done with the first phase. The closer to 400k HP you can lower the boss's HP, the easier it's going to be to defeat it before he flies away. For the hand phase, keeping Split Soul active, using greater ricochet and rapid fire anytime they are off cooldown, and by the 3rd or 4th hand, Imbue Shadows should be available to use again. Part of my strategy was to switch to melee gear just before the last hand went down, try to get 120 adrenaline to start the 3rd phase strong. When the Blackstone Dragon becomes attackable again, do your best Berserker rotation. In my case, I combine abilities like Greater Barge with Assault, Chaos Roar with Overpower. Remember that Overpower's cooldown is lower during Berserkers, so you can potentially get 3 to 4 Overpowers in one Berserker rotation. You can use Rend before big attacks if you have the Gloves of the Passage. And remember to Greater Flurry when the boss's HP is low. The Length Special is also very good, it only costs 30% adrenaline and it's like a mini overpower. Getting this one took a few tries, but not as many as I thought. I really feel like I am understanding the core mechanics of the combat system, but I have a long way to go still. But being able to defeat the boss without it flying away felt like a dream come true. I never thought I was gonna be able to do this, and it makes the fight 100 times better. Now I am just missing the Grandmaster time challenge for this dungeon, and I will be back to claim it once I feel like my account is ready for it. The collection log though is not looking that great. With almost 140 solo kills, I just have 2 codices to show up for it. I really think that this dungeon does not like me at all. So before we wrap up this video, I forgot to mention one small thing. I was on a Dragon Cluster Slayer task for these runs, so the Slayer helmet on the Anachronia stand definitely helped with my damage. I try to mention as many of the important buffs and strategies as I can, so you can follow along or use them on your own attempts. There are so many buffs you can use in RS3 that it's honestly easy to forget one or two. And I think that's going to do it for this video. I know this one ended up being a little shorter than the previous episodes, but I am working on getting these videos out more consistently. In this video, we managed to color in green 3 bosses, and we're adding a new color, which is the color yellow. This means that we only have the Grandmaster achievement missing for this boss. The next episode is gonna be focused on the other Elite Dungeons, Elite Dungeon 1 and also Elite Dungeon 3. So do not dare to miss it. Remember to subscribe if you want to see more videos similar to this one. I really appreciate you making it to the end of the video. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.